Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Observation Conversations. My name is Reid.
And I'm Jonathan.
And I received a text from you this morning, I believe, right?
Yes, it's true.
It said, do not watch the Eternals trailer.
Yes.
We should talk about it.
It's true.
So have you watched it? Did you see it and say no?
I the story is, so I first saw it pop up. I think it was on Twitter, and then I checked Facebook, and it was all over Facebook. And I thought to myself, "Oh crap! I hope he hasn't already seen it because it's already been up for 3 hours." And I thought this would be an incredible opportunity for us to do our first ever edition of what we're kind of calling observation reactions. You know, neither of us have seen it yet. This will be our first unfiltered impressions.
Totally blind.
Yeah, totally blind of Marvel's Eternals coming out this November. I think that's like I said, we're both really interested and excited for this one. We have no idea what to expect. This has been a really kind of unprecedented corner of the Marvel universe that we're going to explore in this movie. Chloe Zhao, incredible director, just won Best Picture, Best Director at the Oscars a few weeks ago, is directing this one. Have no idea what to expect, but yeah, we're going to jump in and record our impressions and talk about what we think after we've seen it. So
yeah,
let's pull it up now.
I think we should just head right in.
Absolutely.
Do this. Probably early human civilization. They've been here since like the dawn of man, right?
Yeah, this is like the Stone Age, essentially. Oh my.
Oh.
It's beautiful, isn't it? We have watched, unguided. We have helped them progress, and seen them accomplish wonders. Throughout the years, we have never interfered. Until now.
Thank you for this.
Oh, you're welcome.
So now that Captain Rogers and Iron Man are both gone, who do you think's gonna lead the Avengers?
I could lead them.
Okay, so
visually stunning.
Oh my goodness,
that's beautiful. That
yeah.
scene with like the green curtains dropping down.
Oh yeah.
Or, like when the ship first arrives, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so that was the teaser for the Eternals. Yeah, I mean, just this is our raw impressions. You just saw us watch it there, and yeah, I mean, let's just continue what you were just saying. I mean, visually stunning. I mean, you cannot accuse the Eternals of suffering from, people complain about kind of the Marvel veneer that kind of covers, a lot of the movies. They all kind of look the same. Definitely a lot of them are very CGI heavy. This is not that. If there's one thing that we've known about the Eternals production throughout is that this has involved more practical filming and more practical locations than almost any other Marvel film that we've seen. And you can tell, I mean, it really does show. It looks stunning. The landscapes are incredible. And yeah, so this is just a teaser, so it didn't tell us much about the plot of the Eternals. And that's okay, it got us intrigued, and that's what it's supposed to do. It kind of teased us as to what's to come.
Well, here's what I'm gonna ask. Do you think the plot takes place entirely during basically present day? I think the MCU is now like 2025 or something, but
mm,
do you think it takes place during that kind of present day and we just haven't seen any footage from that? Or do you think the plot kind of spans throughout human history and
I
that present day is going to be like an Act 3 resolution type of thing?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the latter, and we know it's going to be some combination because as we just saw, I mean, we begin the trailer and seemingly when the Eternals arrived at the dawn of humanity, essentially, very very early in the history of the human race, and we saw them in what I think was an ancient Egyptian setting, like in a Babylonian setting,
Yeah.
and increasingly more contemporary up until that final scene in the teaser where obviously they make allusions to things that just would have happened in Avengers Endgame. So
But
there
then
must be some.
they're still like living in kind of a more what seemed like an ancient hand-built structure.
Mm, which
So
is Yeah, which is why I think it's kind of going to kind of be a sweep throughout history from the very beginning, and we'll check in with them as to where they've been at points throughout history leading up to the conflict in the more so present day.
here's what I'll say. Given that it's only a teaser,
Mm,
I think my prediction is that all of that history and kind of the explanation of them being there and what they've been up to, I think that's only going to be Act 1
mm,
because there was that one line in the trailer that said, we haven't um, interfered until now,
hmm
implying like present day. And I don't know what that like threat is supposed to be. I don't know if that's going to be like Thanos or the Infinity Stones or whatever. Well,
Right.
clearly not. They were referencing, um, who's going to lead the Avengers now,
hmm
um, which means they didn't interfere when Thanos arrived, which
Mm,
was kind of interesting how they justify that.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I'm predicting a new threat that comes up in modern times that forces them to kind of leave their places of hiding.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right because if I recall correctly from the official kind of 2 sentence synopsis of this movie, I believe the threat that causes the Eternals to kind of as you said, kind of leave hiding and step back out into the forefront of things again is the Deviants, I believe, who
Yeah,
I believe were there. We're kind of the dark reflections of the Eternals in the comics. I don't know much about the Eternals lore. That's
I know nothing. So
yeah. No, I can't claim to know much beyond just the bare minimum basics. But I believe that was the plot synopsis for this film. And we didn't get any suggestion of that in this teaser either, but I would bet you anything that we're going to get some suggestion of the Deviants in the first trailer, whenever that comes out.
yeah,
Also, I'll say this, just in terms of the general timing of this, I am a little surprised, pleasantly surprised, because we know that with the sheer number of projects that Marvel has to promote throughout the year, they tend to like to keep a certain tempo to things. They don't want to get too far ahead of themselves to start promoting projects that are still 2, 3 Disney Plus shows or movies down the road, because that's just well, number one, it's very expensive, and number two, you really want to go big on just a handful of things at a time so people don't get confused.
yeah.
And so I always assumed that, we got the first trailer for Shang-Chi a few weeks ago, back in April. And I thought that that was probably the last we were going to get until Loki released. And they would probably tie in the first Eternals teaser or trailer, maybe in week 2 or 3 of Loki just to start that
Mhm.
machine going as we're a little bit closer to Shang-Chi. But here we are. It's a Monday in late May. As far as I know, this wasn't attached to any, obviously, no NFL game. I don't know that it was attached to an NBA playoff game. I think it came out this morning, not last night.
Yeah.
And so there's no Disney Plus show airing right now. There's no movie out. So I'm pleasantly surprised that it just kind of showed up, but I wasn't expecting this until a few weeks from now.
I mean, I will say it is, like you said, it's a teaser, not a trailer. So that could
Yeah.
be why they felt more confident in releasing it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it also bodes well for, a pretty certain release. I don't think they're going to have to push it back, considering, they have at least that much footage done.
Oh,
and,
great.
Professionally cleaned up.
Definitely.
Which means, they're chugging along at a really good pace. That sounds like that movie is going to be right on schedule, if not potentially early. I doubt they'll move
totally.
it up.
Probably not. Yeah, because the schedule is so congested as is with, I mean, literally, it's a movie July, 2 months later, September, 2 months later, November, and then 1 month later with Spider-Man in December. So,
Which
yeah,
I remember when 3 movies in a year was
radical.
so mind-blowing
Yeah.
for Marvel.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
it used to be like one every like 1.5 years, and then you got like one a year, and then at a certain point they were releasing like 3 movies every year, and that was crazy.
Oh, yeah. No,
And now it's going to be like every other month, which
pretty
is
much.
stupid.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. I mean, just think about what's coming out between now and this trailer and the actual Eternals. We have Loki, we have Black Widow, we have Shang-Chi, probably Miss Marvel. I think we don't have a firm release date for that yet, but that's supposed to be like early to mid fall. So if I had to guess, maybe like October, and then the Eternals, and then Spider-Man in December. So
why are we getting Eternals teasers before Miss Marvel?
well, I think the easiest answer is because the Eternals was pretty much already in the can. That was originally supposed to be the second big movie of Phase 4 that came out last fall. Of course, everything got pushed back due to COVID, and so whereas Miss Marvel was always going to be a 2021 thing, they were only beginning to film that early this year, I think. Whereas this was already, I think, like half filmed before everything shut down last year, and then they finished the rest of it last winter. So they just simply had more footage ready to go and ready to polish up, to release, start releasing around now. Whereas I think Miss Marvel, they're still kind of in post-production. So
Gotcha.
that would be my guess. Same with Black Widow. I mean, we've been getting trailers for Black Widow before the pandemic started. So
over a year.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm getting a little bit sick of Black Widow clips
Just
and trailers
release
that
it
come
already.
out.
Let us
I mean,
watch
honest,
it.
and I hate to say this, but I feel like I've seen half the movie at this point just because of seeing clips and trailers and just, I've seen enough. I don't want to see anything else until the movie comes out.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess. I think they just had more ready to go. And it makes sense, as you said. I mean, I think that the best takeaway from this, other than that, it looks great. As we know, director is incredible, cast is mind-boggling.
Big too, like 10 main
huge.
characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, and the scope of it is going to be absolutely huge. But also the fact that we're getting it now is a very strong sign that Marvel is confident in their plan. They're saying, yes, we had to push back Black Widow. We caught some flack for that, but everything else is going to be firm. Shang-Chi is firm in September. This is firm in November, and as we've said before, I mean, Spider-Man is, Sony's, that's their meal ticket. That's Spider-Man is everybody's getting bonuses at the end of the year at Sony Entertainment. People are going to be buying new BMWs, getting new pools in their backyards. That's what Spider-Man does. So that's definitely going to be in December. So. Yeah, I think that's good for us as well, the fans, because it's been a long wait since Spider-Man: Far From Home 2 summers ago. So
Yeah.
I think we're all ready to get back into the swing of things. So I'm really excited. This Eternals trailer has left me feeling very encouraged. I'm very excited to see more from it. I think there's a lot more to see from it, but this did exactly what it's supposed to do. Teaser. It just gave us a hint, a taste, a news boosh, if you will, for what's to come. And yeah, I'm definitely, the hype is building for Eternals more than it already was. So,
Is there anything
good job.
you're kind of afraid of for this movie? Something that they might do wrong or unfavorable?
Um, well, here's the thing: and I don't mean to be one of those people that says, "Oh, Marvel, they're a golden god; they can do no wrong." I mean, of course, especially when you're releasing this many big projects, there's always that potential to stumble.
Yeah, I mean, like
And
Thor: The Dark World exists, so
yeah, but even then, you look at what Marvel Studios has done. Even their worst is still good.
yeah,
It's not, you would not, like, put it up on the mantelpiece, 10 out of 10 film, but at their worst, they're still good. They've yet to truly put out a stinker. And so until that happens, I do give them the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I readily admit that this or any other project that they could put out may be the first time that they drop the ball, but it hasn't happened yet in,
yeah,
you know, what is it? 23, 24, 25 films, 11 years, 12 years now actually. No, pardon me, 13 years. 13 years of Marvel Studios and doing this, over, 20 plus films, and now, Disney Plus shows coming out regularly. They have yet to drop the ball. So, is there anything specifically that worries me about the Eternals? I'm not really, not yet, not yet. I do give Marvel the benefit of the doubt. I think this is going to be a very different kind of film than we've seen before. I think the scope is going to be very different. I think, as you said, this is going to be, it's the first time you've seen really a true ensemble, in my opinion, since the Avengers, and also, I guess you could say, Civil War.
yeah,
Um, Especially, certainly, an ensemble of totally new characters. And so,
yeah. For me,
yeah.
like that's the thing that kind of worries me a little bit. I
Mhm.
think this movie as a standalone piece is going to be great.
Mhm.
But because it is kind of that ensemble piece where we're learning about this group as a collective, it's
Mhm.
gonna feel more like those like the Fox X-Men movies, because
Mhm.
those were all ensemble pieces, whereas the
Yeah,
Avengers really earned their moment by introducing each of these characters individually in their own movies.
absolutely.
Um, so my concern is what comes after the Eternals and how they kind
Mhm.
of blend these essentially demigods
Mhm.
with the normal Marvel superheroes. Where
Yeah.
especially because the context in which they exist is so different, these
Mhm.
guys feeling a lot more ancient and more historical versus very modern.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I'm very interested to see how they handle that. I don't know what their plans are for Eternal sequels or how they'll just kind of coexist with the main people in the MCU outside of just basic references.
Mhm.
Um, that's my one concern.
Yeah. No. No. Totally. Yeah. I've kind of been asking myself the same question. Where do we go after this? Because, as you said, I mean, this is going to be telling a story that is pretty separate from the main action of the MCU that we've seen. I mean, quite deliberately. The Eternals have been in the shadows, they've been in the corners of the world and in the background doing their own thing. And now at this late stage of the game, phase 4, they're kind of, joining the main action of things. And so how do you incorporate them, or not how will you, but what's the best way to incorporate them? And looking down the pipeline as to what's next, you know, I don't. I wouldn't suspect we would see them involved in the multiverse crisis in Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I
I I,
wouldn't think
I,
so.
I wouldn't suspect that. But do you know what I think there could be an outside chance of where they might pop up or they might factor in is Thor: Love and Thunder. I think that you
Huh.
might see them pop up in Thor: Love and Thunder because we know that just a few months ago, Russell Crowe actually was cast in that film to play Zeus. And
Yeah.
we know that Christian Bale is going to be playing Gore the God Butcher, who
Yep.
has been essentially on an eternal quest to eliminate all god level deities. And I think that the Eternals, maybe they're not gods, but they're certainly god adjacent. You know, as you said, they're demigods. And so I think that you could have a situation where maybe they factor in on some small level. I don't think they're going to be a big part of that film, but I think that you could see a couple of them pop up in Thor:
Like
Love and
that.
Thunder.
That's where you start to kind of weave those connections and
Exactly.
start building that bridge. Yeah, that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Yeah,
I
and
can see them doing that, and that would also
especially
connect them to Guardians of the Galaxy a little bit because they're
exactly.
in that Thor movie, and kind of I think that's Marvel's kind of plan for Phase 4 is to branch out more in the cosmic sense.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it works as well because when you look at the Eternals who have been around forever for the extent of human history, there's that you have that kind of you can make it work where of course you know if in this same world gods like Zeus from Greek mythology are real, and you've got the demigods and these Eternals that have been around you know ancient Greece and all these other times, then you know it does kind of work. You know you can get that synergy there. So that would be my outside guess for where they might pop up. Other than that, it's hard to say because everything else is a little more grounded. I mean, you do have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but I wouldn't expect to see them in that.
Yeah,
Nor would I particularly expect them to see them in the Marvels. Or, I mean, I don't know, maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Mania, but I think that's going to be more of a time travel King the Conqueror thing. So I don't know.
yeah. We'll just have to see, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, it'll also kind of depend on how this movie plays out and whether it's like all of human history and that's it, or it's like human history and then them in the modern age,
Right,
which
right.
you know we obviously won't know until the movie comes out, or at least a few more trailers.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I'll say this. I mean, you could always have flashbacks to what they've been doing, and when they were still in the past. You know, like in Quantum Mania, if if they're doing it's going to be like a time caper type thing, time travel caper, kind of like Loki, but it's going to have King the Conqueror as the main villain there. Maybe you could kind of maybe they pop up in Babylon or someplace, and and when we get to see one of the Eternals or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think that there is a lot of potential. Just a matter of how do you kind of fit them into the lore and have it make sense.
yeah,
But yeah, as you said, very, very excited. This is going to be, this is definitely going to be one to watch. I don't know I would put it in my top 5 yet in terms of most anticipated films of this year. I'm still I'm still looking forward to Shang-Chi, I think a little bit more than this one, but very excited, very excited. Can't wait to see more from it. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. So
so what do you rate the trailer, and what do you expect the movie to get?
this was a good trailer. It definitely got me. I was already interested in it, and it elevated that interest further. So this was a very good trailer. I would give it a. I'm gonna say this is a solid 9 out of 10 for a teaser. For a teaser, this did exactly what a teaser was supposed to do. I would give it a very good 9 out of 10. And as far as the movie, I mean, it's looking great. So, it's hard to say, but it's looking really, really good. So I have high expectations for it. Very high, especially with the director, because again, I mean, I can't stress enough how incredible it is. We're having a massive budget Marvel epic directed by the reigning, best director winner from this year's Oscars. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really cool. So very high expectations.
All
And
right.
how about
Well,
you? What would you rate it?
trailer, I'd say a solid 8 out of 10. Um, I mean, just gorgeous,
Hmm.
gorgeous film. Um, I mean, it's hard to say, but I expect the actual film production quality and visuals 9 out of 10. Plot and kind of connectiveness 6.5.
Okay.
I'm a little bit more skeptical about the Eternals, but I that's just because I don't know anything about them.
Okay, yeah.
But we'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Exciting stuff. So thank you everybody for joining us on our first episode of Observation Reactions. This won't really be a regular thing, just whenever a trailer pops up that really interests us. But yeah, thank you for listening to our ramblings and our very first reactions to The Eternals. This was great.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.